Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. All-You-Can-Eat Buffet Inventor.
Mr. All-You-Can-Eat Buffet Inventor.
You've given us the real American dream. A tray, 15 feet of food, and a little sign that says, "Go nuts, buddy."
Oh, pitch me, I'm dreaming.
Pushing side dish innovation to its limits, you offer creamed everything and 400 flavors of gelatin.
Feeding frenzy.
If there's beef, you'll chip it. If there's chicken, you'll fry it. And if there's gravy, well, then everything's going to be okay.
Oh, thank God for the gravy.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, buffet boy. You know the way to a man's heart, and a few hundred tasty ways to challenge it.
Mr. All-You-Can-Eat Buffet Inventor.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Do you want to destroy these people, Ari?
Okay, yes. If I could gouge out Terrence McEwitt's eyeballs and eat them for what he did to me, I would. And I would sell that Benedict Arnold Adam Davies into white slavery if we lived in a place that had a market for it. And Lloyd, that little queen, who I welcomed into my home and allowed to play with my children and care for my dog, and who left me for those two scumbags, I would tie him up and allow the entire Screen Actors Guild to anally rape him, if not for the fact that I know he would enjoy it. I hate them all. And yes, I want to see them destroyed. Jesse, how have you been?
I've been...
Great, I'm back, and you're fired. Hello all, no need to run, your fates have already been sealed. You're safe.
Oh my God.
You're safe, for now. Hello, nice to see you. Who's your best client?
I represent John and Kate Pussy.
Where are you, Davies?
All right, I'm already packing to save myself the indignity.
That's too bad.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Did you lost your mind, Ollie?
And John Wetland one more time set. And here comes the 2-2 pitch to Edgar Martinez now. The fastball swung on into deep center field. Bernie Williams goes back and it is get out the right front and the mustard this time grab all. It is a grand salami. And the Mariners lead it 10-6. I don't believe it.
From high atop the Robinson Gearing Studio Complex and straight out of God's country, Pawleys Island, South Carolina, the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network proudly presents Backwards K Pod. And now, here's the host of the show, Jake Robinson.
Good moment, baseball universe. What is up? Once again, back is the incredible, the pod animal, Jake the Snake Robinson from the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network. Half man, half machine. Back in the Captain Kirk chair, shields down, photons up. Prepare to engage on this week's digital audio program that I call Backwards K-Pod, where we collect ball players and their stories. What's cracking, Seaheads? What's juicy? Are you not entertained? Opening day has arrived, and the snake is coming in guns a-blazing, folks. I'm not here to fuck around this week. I just want to thank the good Lord above for helping me to get here today. At my age, I don't take any opening day All-Star game, World Series, WBC, or any meaningless game versus the Royals in August, for that matter. I don't take none of those games for granted. Win or lose, anytime I have the opportunity to soak in a ball game, I take advantage of it, and I still, at disadvantaged age, I still appreciate it, as if I'm that 5-year-old kid sitting in right field of Memorial Stadium with my late Aunt Celeste, and Reggie Jackson is treating me like I'm the only person in the stadium that matters. And I almost have a tear in my eye thinking about my first experience in the game of baseball. That was 48 years ago. And my life has never been the same since that day. And to top all that off, I have a baseball platform that is listened to in over 32 countries around the world. And I have the greatest baseball podcast audience ever to share my love of the game with every single week. I am truly blessed. Hello, everybody. Jake the Snake Robinson here, back from the surgery table. I am hernia-free. Been recovering for the past week. Well, it's 6 days a day. No worse for wear, I think. The last thing I remember before they gassed me out was, what if I wake up and I become like a goddamn Blue Jays fan? I was a little antsy, but look, I pulled through it. I didn't have an urge to emigrate to Ottawa, although I could have used that socialist medical system that they employ over, our clusterfuck system. I mean, look, I'm pretty much in debt now for the rest of my remaining years of life, so, I mean, that's a whole other story for a whole different type of podcast, right? And first of all, before we get into this, I feel the need to apologize to the audience. I was hoping to put out a show last Tuesday, as I've always done for you guys since I joined Podbean, but I gotta be honest with you, I was whacked out on the oxy. My insides were, delicate. Let's put it that way. And the drugs that, they made my voice sound really disturbing. I mean, this is disturbing enough, right? So, and to be honest, I just couldn't get it together. I was totally fucking out of it. And I gotta be honest, I felt the love. Many people in and out of my baseball universe, they prayed for me, and I thank all of you from the bottom of my dark, empty soul. I feel the positive vibes all around me. People in my orbit were, of course, like, don't worry about missing a show, just get better, which is logical, of course. I know that, but that kind of mentality, it flies in the face of everything that I am. It's part of my Japanese samurai ancestral DNA. First of all, again, if I'm being honest, this podcasting is very competitive, and I'm in pursuit of podcast perfection. So that's first. Missing deadlines is not perfection in that regard. I'm a failure, and I have true shame inside of me because of that. I failed my audience. That's like the worst thing. I never want to fail you guys. My sponsors and myself. I think you guys know that. Every week, I come prepared, ready for war. And last Tuesday, I was unable to meet that challenge, and I apologize to the fan base for that. But look, I'm back. And you're all fucking fired. What do you think about that? Ari going to the top of that. It's just, I love that dude. I can't wait to get the manager's death pool rolling. Today is the Snake's 52nd birthday, and there is no other group of people I'd rather be speaking to in the whole world. So, let me tell you how I'm going to handle this pivot. If anything, I'm prepared. The show has been plotted out for all of 2023. Now, I missed the history of the Astros show this past Tuesday. I'm going to do a slight pivot on the Astros show. I'm going to stick a pin in it and release that as a bonus pod at some point in the next couple months. The reason for that is because of all these player bios this year. They revolve around their birthdays. And if I just throw that Stros show out there on Tuesday, it's gonna fuck the whole scheduling up that I have in place for a year. So I will at some point do that Astros show, but I have a tight schedule format to work with. So I personally apologize to my Astros base. I'm not a hater. I'm an admirer. This isn't nefarious. I want to be transparent with you and tell you why. I will get to that show for you. That's a promise from the Snake, and that's fucking ironclad. So, that's number one. Number two, Abel Rosario was scheduled for that show that I missed. He was going to come in and wrap up the WBC with me, but we kind of missed that window there, and he has been down in Port St. Lucie scouting his Mets. I want to thank Rosario for breaking down the 20 with me those last two shows. He did a hell of a job. That guy is passionate about international sports, and he is always welcome here in my little dojo. What can I say about the Classic other than it was a classic. The best showing of games for the tournament in its short history. We saw the Czech Republic get an automatic qualifier for the next WBC with their first win on the world stage. That's quite an accomplishment. Love those dudes. We saw countries like Australia and Italy improve dramatically from their previous classics. And hopefully these two keep that snowball rolling down the hill and they continue to expand on their goals. We saw the utter collapse of baseball powers, Cuba, Dominican Republic, the Kingdom of the Netherlands. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board. The Dominicans were in a tough pool to start out with. I give them that, but I still consider their tourney a failure. They were one amongst the prohibitive favorites. On the flip side of that, Puerto Rico, I said it the last two shows, they die slow. And any thought of their demise on the world stage of baseball was foolish. It was foolish on my part, for sure. We saw Edwin Diaz go down, which infuriated a few of these butthurt Mets fans and Keith Olbermann. But their protests were drowned out by the dollar bill counting machines that the MLB accountants were using to stack that revenue cash, and it was drowned out by the roars from the fans watching baseball in the stadium or on their TV sets all around the globe. The same people who never say shit about NBA players and NHL players in their Olympics, but, baseball has to abide by your standards, your wishes. Okay, I got you, buddy. It's horrible what happened to Diaz. No true fan wants to see that. Not even a Phillies or a Braves man would wish that on you. When players get hurt in the spring, shit, players get hurt tripping over their dog in their living room or going all Marty Cordova with a tanning bed incident. This will not destroy the Mets. The guy pitches one inning, and his career has literally been up and down throughout his career. He wasn't even hurt performing a baseball play. The whole selective outrage was just fascinating to watch. I'm feeling Chris Rock on that selective outrage thing. And quite honestly, the best team won the tournament in Japan, just like I said they would 5 months ago. While the pundits were steadily telling me about, the prodigious power of the Americans and the Dominicans, I was laughing inside because, A, this was always going to come down to pitching, no matter how powerful those liners were. And the Japanese had the pitchers. And B, the overall concentration on building a fundamental machine that was going to be able to manufacture runs with all their cogs available at any moment, in any situation, in any game. Many Americans, after they pounded Cuba, were caught up in this offensive prowess of Team USA without understanding, the true mediocrity of the pitching they just pounded. You were deluded if you thought that the lineup was going to manhandle Japanese pitching the way they did to the Cubans. Going into that game, I kept telling these rambunctious Americans chanting USA in my face, I kept telling them to take a look at that Japanese pitching staff and their stats in this little tournament that we're running here. Metric, traditional, I don't care. Take a look at them. I don't give a shit which one you look at. The Japanese pitchers, they own the stat box. And the difference between Team USA and Samurai Japan was pitching and the fundamentals. Japan matched USA with 2 solo home runs in the championship game, and they manufactured that third winning run. So, just like I said a couple weeks ago, Team USA looked like some of these Yankee teams that, the last decade or so, where they have to fight for every win if they ain't hitting the ball out of the ballpark that day. And that ending. The former best player on the planet, Mike Trout, taking on the best baseball player on the planet, Shohei Ohtani, with 2 down in the ninth. That was mesmerizing. And the perfect finish for a tournament that is here to stay, folks. Japan has now won 3 WBC crowns, and it is official. The Nippon Professional Baseball League is on par with the major leagues. For those of you who still think it was stupid and useless, go ask the Red Sox how stupid and useless it was. They got Yoshida batting cleanup today. So, congratulations to Team Samurai Japan. See you in 4 years. And when Adley Rockstar makes that American team, I may have to reconsider a few things there. Okay. I'm going to take a commercial break in a few to set up our death pool, but before I do, I want to announce that we do have a winner in our annual LTBPN Throwback Draft. And I've had a few guys try to IM me on the slide, hit me some checks off. They want to know who won. But the judges and I, we've been bound to secrecy, and I'm ready to announce the winner. So, let me set this up here. Let me explain what it is to the listeners who don't know what I'm talking about. I have the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network group page. If you're not there, you should be. It's the most comprehensive and interactive baseball page in the book. Just answer the stupid questions and come in. Anyway, the members, every year, we have an open draft on the page that we all kind of follow for a couple months. And at the end of the year, I break the teams down and declare a winner. And we usually start in February. It kind of gets everyone in like this baseball mode. I'm trying to get them into this mode. Football's over. Let's focus on baseball. And at the beginning of the year, we do a throwback draft where our players are in a pool from like the last 40 years. They're all available. And after the last time of the World Series, we have an open draft of all the current players and in the Major League Baseball, and we sim that out in a 2K baseball video game. So, this year, we did it a little different. And, with me recovering from surgery, I had my 4-man bench of judges decide the winner this year. I told them I would only give it involved if there was a tie and you needed someone to break it. Well, I'm going to tell you, they didn't need me at all. And, I was going through the notes. It's well thought out. There were some disagreements, but they fleshed it all out. And, folks, the winner was unanimous. There were arguments getting to there, but one team stood out above the rest. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to give you the playoffs. I want to get onto this death pool. I'm going to give you the playoffs and the World Series results. And if any of you have questions and you're in the draft, you can direct your questions to the judges. And truth be told, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that horse shit anymore. I mean, look, folks, this is all for fun. So please, keep your crying to a minimum because I'm a heartless snake. I don't give a shit. I actually love the taste of your tears, okay? So, here we go. Oh, and just so you know, there's no favoritism. We have no idea whose teams these are when we're judging them. We have to go. We don't find that out until the winner is decided. So, where's my notes here? I know you guys want to really, really know, right? In the American League, that's the American League, the junior circuit. I'm trying to draw this out. In the American League, the playoffs came down to 2 teams. All right, it came down to 2 teams in the American League. All right, I'm fucking with you. All right, let's go. The playoffs came down to 2 teams in the American League playoffs. One team was drafted by Brian Bellzito out of Dewey, Arizona. And the other pennant winner in the American League, we're still in the American League, right? Okay. The other winner in the American League, I really should be a game show host. I know how to build up suspense, right? The other winner in the American League was Team Ozzie Cruz from Puerto Rico. So, you got the playoffs between Team Bellzito and Team Ozzie Cruz in the American League. in the National League. The postseason came down to the teams drafted by. This is the National League we're doing right here. We're doing the playoffs. 2 pennant winners. In the National League, the postseason came down to 2 teams. One was drafted by Frankie Iverlino out of upstate New York. And the other team, what division is this? National League, right? What are we down to, 2 teams? Okay. The other team that won was Justin Navarrete out of Anaheim, California. And I probably just butchered his name again. I always butcher that dude. Is it Navarrete or Navarrete? I'll never know. He's just Justin N to me. So Justin Navarrete out of Anaheim, California, and Frankie Iverlino. I just call him Frankie Eyes. He's another one. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Now, American League, you got Team Belzino versus Team Ozzie Cruz. National League came down to Team Frankie Eyes and Justin. The AL pennant was won by Team Bells. Brian Belzino. I heard there was a lot of argument over that. So Belzino's in the World Series. Congratulations, brother. Good job. The NL pennant between Frankie Eyes and Justin the NL pennant was won by Frankie Eyes. All right. The suspense, the drama. So now we got our World Series matchup. We got Team Bells versus Frankie Eyes. And the winner of the 2023 LTBN Throwback Draft by unanimous decision by a jury of your peers. Is it going to be Bells or Frankie Eyes? Which one could it be? Let's open this envelope here. All right. Oh, look at that. Unanimous, huh? All right. And the winner of the 2023 LTBN Throwback Draft is Frankie Eyes out of upstate New York. Great job there, Frankie. Unbelievable. And you know what? Yeah, take your bows, brother. You deserve it. And look, awesome job, Frankie. I mean, great fucking job. I got a prize for you. I'm going to be sending it out. I want to talk to you a little bit. I'll send you an IM in a couple of days. I want to thank Ben, Matt, Scott, and my dude Adam. Great job, fellas. Way to step up in my steed. You done good, guys. And look, like the Supreme Court justices, that's a lifelong post. And I'm sure I will use you guys in the future. We got a kangaroo court coming up here soon. So, there's no other judges that I trust more. And there you have it, folks. Congratulations again to Frankie Eyes. And I'm glad you won. I must have got like 5 messages during that draft from him about how much he had fun participating in this. So, Frankie, you now wear the, you wear the crown, brother. I mean, you're the dude. There you got it. Congratulations. Frankie Eyes, 2023 Throwback Draft winner. And, look, man, I'm just so happy you won because I just remember all those messages that you kept, sent it to me, and this was your first draft, and you cleaned up, brother. It was unanimous. No one even argued it. It was done deal. Once you were in the World Series, you were done deal. Congratulations, my friend. You now wear the crown, and may you rule wisely and in a just manner for the year. Now, I'm going to step out of here for a couple of minutes, pay some bills. Please support my sponsors. When we come back, it's going to be time for our manager's death pool. See you guys on the other side of the break. I got to tell you, I'm just so surprised that Frankie won. I just love that, man. That's the coolest thing ever. Frankie Eyes, he got the crown, baby. That's really, really cool. Yeah, I'm going to step out, pay some bills here, set up my new setup here for the manager's death pool. So stick around, folks, and I'll be right back.
Howdy, y'all. This is Big Tex Gage Geek, executive producer of Backwards Cade Pod. In Texas, we do everything big. After football and golf, there's probably nothing I love more than going fishing and enjoying a good crawfish boil. The only thing I dislike about going fishing is the lingering odor it can leave on your hands afterwards. Well, the Fish and Hand Cleaner is an all-natural liquid soap perfect for overpowering fish and bait odors from your hands. I can't tell you how many times I've eaten steamed crabs, lobster, shrimp, crawfish, and then washed my hands with regular soap, only to touch my eyes half hour later, and my face begins to melt off due to the damn Cajun Old Bay spices. Well, we also have a hand cleaner, specifically formulated to use after eating shellfish and other seafoods. Perfect for cleaning spicy, smelly hands after a Texas-sized seafood feast. In these cases, don't settle for anything less than our crawfish hand cleaner, our crab hand cleaner, or the fishing hand cleaner. An ingenious trifecta of natural hand soaps developed and owned by a disabled Navy veteran. He and Jake have a true connection as they were boot camp shipmates all the way back in 1989. So he is family, folks. And one thing we do here at the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network is look out for family. So you can support two grassroots companies by two former shipmate Navy vets. Crushing big bowls of shellfish or fishing on the banks of your favorite river while you listen to BKP. Sounds like a great day. You know, in fact, hey Muff, where are my poles? I'm gone fishing. There is also a buffalo wing hand cleaner in development as we speak. To check all of the incredible products of this great company, you can go to www.crawfishhandcleaner.com or call the home offices at 713-588-0290. That's 713-588-0290 to support the grassroots company that supports your grassroots podcast show. That's crawfishhandcleaner.com or 713-588-0290 to prepare for your summertime shellfish feast or that fishing trip you're planning. crawfishhandcleaner.com.
I think you're dead, right?
Yeah.
That's good. You should keep it that way.
What, like wear a mask?
Yes, a very thick mask, all the time. I am sorry, you are haunting. Your face is the stuff of nightmares.
Like a testicle of teeth.
You will die alone. If you could die. Ideally. For others' sake.
That'll do.
All you need now is a suit and a nickname, like Wade the Wisecracker, or Scare Devil, Mr. Never Die. Ah, shit.
What?
I put all my money on you, and now I just realized I'm never going to win the,
Deadpool.
Captain
Deadpool. No,
Just Deadpool, yeah. To you, Mr. Pool. Deadpool. That sounds like a fucking franchise.
Don't get it twisted. This rap shit is mine, motherfucker. Fucking game. Fuck what you heard. It's what you hearing. It's what you hearing. Listen. It's what you hearing. Listen. It's what you hearing. Listen. X gon' give it to you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you. Knock, knock, open up the door, it's real. With the non-stop pop out and stainless steel. Go hard getting busy with it. But I got such a good heart that I make the motherfucker wonder if you did it. Damn right, can I do it again? Cause I am like, so I got to win.
And we're back. Guns blazing, baby. I'm ready to get this thing rolling. It's the 2023 Managers Death Pool. It's sponsored by Lapero's Fish and Crab Hand Cleaners. Got to thank them for sponsoring stuff like this for us. And we got a beautiful trophy for this year's winner, thanks to our sponsors' help here. The rules are simple. I will be pulling an audience member's name from a hat, and then I will pull one of the current 30 managers' names out of another hat, and I will match the audience member's name to the manager's name. And if that manager is dismissed or quits or, God forbid, dies, and you have his name, you win. It's that simple. The game runs concurrently during the 162-game season, meaning if you have a manager's name that loses his gig at any time during the regular season, I'll give you a prize as well. But the very first manager that gets fired, well, that earns you this beautiful trophy that we got. Also, if no one gets fired during the season, then the contest runs into post and off season, but that doesn't run concurrently. That's winner-take-all situation, and first guy that gets fired in the off season wins it all. Simple enough, right? So, look, you're listening to Backwards K-Pod on the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network. Half man, half podcast machine. I'm all set up to begin the drawing for the 2023 Managers Death Pool, sponsored by Lapero's Fish and Crab Hand Cleaners. So, let's do it. Let's break these fucking hats out. It's times like this I wish I had an extra set of hands, you know what I mean? But we're going to make it work, because you know the snake don't play. So, let's do it. Let's do it. You know, it's funny. I didn't even mark these hats, you know, which one was the player hat, which one was the manager hat. But it looks like there's more names in one hat. We got 60 members that wanted to get in. So I let everybody, we had 54. 54 members wanted to get in. So 6 managers will have one name attached to it, and then the other 24 managers will have 2 names attached to it, okay? So here we go. First pick in the 2023 Death Pool. Managers Death Pool, I should say. And look at it, Timmy Mercado out of Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. Let's see which manager he's got here. I'm pulling into the hat. And Tim Mercado, you have John Schneider from the Blue Jays. Now, that's an interesting pick, considering, you know, they brought him in after letting go Charlie Montoya last year. You know, after that buzzkill started the 2022 season, Toronto was floundering around 500. The Jays management surprisingly fired Charlie Montoya, and they watched as the team rallied around hired John Schneider. And the Jays, you know, they took off soon afterwards. Schneider's superior bully tactical skills over Montoya was a major difference for the Jays' late-season surge. But his biggest appeal appears to be the ability to, you know, win his players over, relate to the young Blue Jay studs. And many of those guys played for him during his tenure as a minor league manager in the Toronto farm system. He will be facing huge expectations in the upcoming season, but his even-keeled demeanor, it should pay off well on that team. And in that baseball market, it doesn't hurt that he has a balanced team to go along with that yin-yang balanced approach there. I don't have him vulnerable at all. I saw a lot of things I like out of John Schneider last year. So, you know, tactically speaking, I'm speaking of, I got him at like 8% vulnerable. So that's the very first pick. And the 2023 Manager's Death Pool. Tim Mercado in Baltimore. You have John Schneider. So I'm reaching back into the hat. Whose name is next? God, I think I folded these up way too tight. Oh, look at this here. I got Chanel McCaskill. Loyal fan, loyal listener. She's out in the Chi, baby, Chi-town. Big time White Sox fan. Let's see what kind of manager I can pull out for Miss McCaskill here. Second pick of the draft. Oh my goodness, she is going to trip out when I tell her this. Alright, Chanel McCaskill, I told you, she's a White Sox fan, right? Well, her pick is the new hire for the White Sox, Pedro Grifol. And it's funny, you know, Jerry Reinsdorf, he exercises more involvement, and he probably wields more day-to-day power than his fellow owners. The failed La Russa experiment, it blew up in his face, and the funk that emanates off of it, it's 100% of it off on his head. And that is only added to, like, the fans' fury, and the masses are, you know, beginning to call for Reinsdorf to sell that team, a team that he has owned and operated since the first year of the Reagan presidency. Even the narcissist Jerry Reinsdorf, he knows his limits, though, and he let the GM Rick Hahn orchestrate the hiring of Pedro Grifol, who had been on the Royals coaching staff since 2013. He also hired former Jays manager Charlie Montoya to serve as the bench coach. I don't think Grifol is vulnerable at all. I think GM Hahn is happy to see La Russa and that outdated bullshit, you know, go out the door. He has put his thumb on the scales, and now he has a managing team that fits him philosophically. I believe he will give Grifol every chance to prove his chance to be right or wrong. Grifol, you know, he's going to have to lean heavily on third-year pitching coach Ethan Katz, who has the challenge of getting Lucas Giolito back on track to making the Southsiders, you know, more forceful. And they got a great threesome. They got Dylan Cease, Michael Kopech, Lance Lynn. So they can get Lucas Giolito to get back to what he is. That's quite a fearsome foursome right there. No team disappointed me more than last year than the White Sox. The jury is still out on them. I expect big things from them, but look, I've been burnt by them before. But Grifol, I think he's absolutely safe. He's gonna be given every opportunity to swim or drown this year. So I got Grifol at 4% vulnerable. All right, there you go, Chanel. You got your own manager. So I don't know how you should root for that, quite honestly. I think you might have just want to, you know, call it a year and just not root for that to happen at all, if I was you. All right, let's see. I got Ryan Ziegler, big-time Phillies fan out of New Jersey. And who's his manager here? We've got to reach into here. Let's see what we got here. Let me see. Okay, Ryan Ziegler. You have Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. That's an interesting pick there. I think it's another, almost kind of like a White Sox situation where, you know, that's kind of like the general manager's hire here. And speaking of that general manager, John Mozeliak, he took over for Walt Jocketty back in 2007. Do you guys realize that? He's now one of the longest tenured decision makers in the industry. The organization, going back to Branch Rickey, has always placed premium value on minor league player development, and they have proven they can make a major league player from pretty much every round in the MLB draft. The firing of Mike Shildt following that 2021 season, it came as a shock to many, but the Cards brass, they had the utmost confidence in Marmol. He was always considered the manager in waiting. And Marmol, who led the team to a 93-69 record in his rookie campaign, is less of a traditionalist than Schilt. Oliver is he's like this new age manager of baseball. He invokes analytics in his lineup and end-game strategy. His biggest challenge is going to be overcoming the mass exodus of coaches the club recently endured. But the Cards, they're a veteran bunch. Should any issues arise that need to be addressed, I don't see Oliver Marmol as a particularly vulnerable coach. I think Mozeliak is completely comfortable with his choice there. So I got Marmol at 10% vulnerable. After Brewers skipper Craig Counsell, I believe he's probably the second most secure manager in a division that, quite honestly, it does have some vulnerability there. So that's the third pick in the draft. Ryan Ziegler, and you get Oliver Marmol. Okay. Pick number 4. Going to the hat. We got Leo Jane out of Melbourne, Australia. All right. That's my dude right there. Loyal listener. Always tunes in. Unfortunately, he didn't pull a very good manager here. He's going to have Dave Roberts, the manager of the Dodgers. And the Dodgers have... He's actually a Dodgers fan, too. He's an Orioles fan first and foremost, but he does have leanings toward the Dodgers in the National League. So he knows a lot of this that I'm probably spitting to him here. The Dodgers have consistently spent as much money as any organization since the current ownership took the helm in 2012. The leadership has swept through the system. It's transformed the team on every level, from scouting to player development to the way they conduct themselves during free agency. GM Andrew Friedman was one of the most significant hires for that current Dodgers squad after transforming the Rays into a winner with a shoestring budget. And with more money to work with in L.A., Friedman has stayed within his analytical code, but he's also receptive to traditional old-school theory. Dave Roberts, now in his 8th season as a Dodger skipper, he and Friedman should have tremendous trust and communication between them. Roberts, like Friedman, he's evolved, just like Friedman has. Roberts is willing to deploy the analytics in a pinch, but for the most part, he has remained traditional in-game manager. He prefers strict bully roles, and at times kind of these stagnant lineup cards. The relationship between the manager and the GM is too tight for me to foresee Roberts getting fired in 2023. So I got Roberts vulnerable at 6%. I think that's fair right there, 6%. All right, so nobody's got anybody that's quite vulnerable yet. Let's reach back into the hat here. We're going to pull out another name. This is the 5th pick of the 2023 Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network. Deadpool, sponsored by Lapero's Fish and Hand Cleaner. And with pick number 5 in the Deadpool draft here, I got Zach Scott out of Altoona, Pennsylvania. All right. And let's see what manager Zach's going to pull here. Oh, another one that I just don't see as very vulnerable here. Zach Scott, Altoona, Pennsylvania. You pulled Bruce Bochy of the Rangers with the 5th pick. Well, you guys who haven't been picked yet, you got to feel pretty good because none of these managers seem very vulnerable. I don't think Bochy's vulnerable. Very few teams, in fact, held my interest and fascination this past offseason, like the Rangers. There were times when I was perplexed, like dumping huge money on the talented but brittle arm of Jacob deGrom. There were times when I was shocked, like, holy shit, the Rangers just got Bruce Bochy. Like, that's real deal, Holyfield shit right there. I'm a huge fan of Bochy. The work he did in San Diego, the rings he lorded out in McCovey Cove. What's not to like, The Rangers hit a grand slam there. And they did some really well, they did some things that I actually liked towards the end there, such as drafting Vladdy Guerrero's little brother in the international draft. And while I do question some of this money they have thrown at free agents in the past couple of years, you know, guys like Jacob, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, the needless spending for mediocre returns, it's not blocked this young talent that they do have coming up. You know, beast prospects like Josh Young and Evan Carter. And even with high-priced free agents on a roster that finished 22 with a 68-84 record, the lifeblood for the Rangers is the youth that they have in tow. The Kumar Rockers, Jack Leiters, Pablo Guerreros. Josh Jung played in a total of, 153 minor league games before his promotion. That's really fast. I'm curious to see how the Rangers go forth and bringing up the plethora of young talent they have. Thankfully, they got Bochy, the perfect patient teacher and strategist. I have Bochy at 2% vulnerable in 2023. I'm very curious to see Bochy and pitching coach Mike Maddox work together for the Rangers. So, again, not the most vulnerable managers. We are now 5 picks in. And let's go for the 6th pick here. Let's see if we can pull out a winner. Let me see who the name is first. The name is going to be Kurt Stewart, my man out of Cleveland, Ohio. Another strong, loyal fan, listener. I'm going to try to pull you out a winner here, Kurt. Let's see what we got. And Kurt is the last pick where it's only going to be one person for a manager. Everybody else is multiple guys. Well, Kurt, you got Aaron Boone from the New York Yankees. And I know, like, your first impulse might be like, he's not going to get fired, but you just never know when it comes to New York, right? And, I mean, going into last year, Boone looked very vulnerable after a sloppy 2021, but GM Brian Cashman, owner Hal Steinbrenner, they gave him their backing, and he responded. He appeared to be more engaged. He had a more engaged attitude last year. His team looked more focused, prepared, competitive because of it. The Yankees, while hot out of the gate last year, going 64-28 in their first 98 games, they went 500 the rest of the way. I like Boone, but I do find some of his moves perplexing, such as batting Judge second in the playoffs, and what the fuck was that? But the Yankees front office has put Boone in an advantageous situation by resigning Judge and snatching free agent Carlos Rondon off the free agent market list. But there's also like this New York City factor, you know, where making the playoffs, it's never good enough from the Yankee fans and media. And with Rondon and Severino struggling with health issues this spring, the fans are in, you know, full pushback mode over Ike Epps, Josh Donaldson, Aaron Hicks roster spots. And should they come out lackluster, you know, with the young Orioles, Rays, and Jays in the wings, it won't be long before Boone absorbs the blood of the fans' anger. Not a guy I see particularly vulnerable, but anything less than total dominance and world title aspirations in that city with that fan base is dangerous. So I'm going to handicap him at 18.4%. So far, you got the most vulnerable manager. I don't know how manageable he is. You know, I got him at 18.4%. It's not beyond the realm, but I don't think it's going to happen. All right, now we're going to 2 picks for each manager. So let me reach in here. I'm going to grab 2 names. And the first name is going to be Cecil Hackworth down in Summerfield, Florida. And he will be in tandem with Jorge Huertas out of the Boogie Down Bronx. All right, my boys. That's good shit right there. Let's see if I can't pick you guys out a winner. Here, this one looks like a winner right here. Let's try this one. Oh, tough beat, fella. Craig Counsell from the Milwaukee Brewers. And I don't know, brother. That's a tough pick right there, I think. because, the Brewers under this owner, Mark Attanasio, they've always been at the bottom of the payroll spectrum. They followed the analytics trend by hiring David Stern as the club GM in 2015, and his job was to stretch out every single dollar spent to its maximum value. So with Stern stepping aside, the crew hired Matt Arnold as his successor, who learned his lessons at the feet of Stearns and is now anxious to put his own theories in conjunction with Sensei Stearns into action. The Brewers have made the postseason in 4 consecutive seasons now, by 4. The most in their team history. It's the first time in their history. Craig Counsell has been arguably the greatest manager in the history of that organization. He has consistently shown the ability to deploy analytics into his process, as well as use his gut instincts and 16 years of playing career experience to draw back on. He truly is fantastic to me. His teams have consistently exceeded expectations, and he always gets the most out of his whole roster with every, and you got to remember, they're not spending a lot of money, so, there's very little margin for error there. I believe the Brew Crew are in a good position to make the playoffs for the 5th consecutive year in 23. And, Counsell, he's going to be playing chess, and he's going to use all his pieces going into tactical battle. I got Counsell. I'm going to put him at 7%. So here they go. Cecil Hackworth, Jorge Huertas. That's a tough draw there. All right. Next 2. We got Peter Cervello out of Utica, New York. And he will be in tandem with my man Roro down in Houston, Texas. All right, there we go. 2 loyal fans. Good brothers right there. So, Roro, Peter Cervello. Let me see who your manager's going to be. I better pick a good one, or Cervello's going to bust my balls all fucking year. Here we go. Oh, my God, dude. I'm really going to hear it on this one. All right. Peter Cervello and Roro. You 2 have Tito Francona from the Cleveland Guardians. And that's not a good pick at all, brother. I think we can all agree there, right? 16 years removed from breaking that curse in the Bambino in Boston. He's now in his 11th season in Cleveland. His 23rd overall as a skipper. He is arguably the least vulnerable manager for the death pool. I mean, unless he actually dies, which I don't mean to go there, but that is a possibility for all 30 men, and it counts in the manager's death pool. He's battled gastrointestinal problems as well as blood clots in recent years, but nothing is going to keep this man away from managing a team that he believes in. And when Tito believes in you, you know it, and it makes you better. Now, I know I'm blatantly kissing his ass, but I'm a huge fan of him and his work. And the tandem of him and Chris Antonetti, the tandem of Chris Antonetti, he's president of baseball operations, Mike Chernoff, the GM, they pretty much made it clear Tito can manage the guards as long as he wants. He's top shelf liquor strategist, a leader, a motivator, a teacher on the big league level. And unlike La Russa, he's been able to evolve in the 2020s. So I'm sorry about your bad luck there with this pick. I got Tito at 0.7% chance of dying this year. No manager has 0%, chance of losing their gig. But Tito's, he's pretty fucking close. Brutal pick. Cervello's going to give it to me on that. All right, moving on. The next name is Debbie Stevenson out of Visalia, California.
That is the brother of, or sister of Ron Robinson, former pitcher of the Cincinnati Reds. Great fan. Big fan of hers as well. She sells a lot of my tumblers and stuff. Michael Ford out of Fresno, California. So look at that. 2 North Californians about to share the same manager. And that manager will be. Let's take a look here. Their manager is Alex Cora for the Boston Red Sox. And, well, look, I just got done watching the Orioles pound the Red Sox in opening day action here. I mean, Adley Rockstar went 4 for 4 with a walk, but, we won't talk about that. He's the man. I'm telling you, this dude is a rock star. The Red Sox and Cora, they've struggled to find consistency since the end of the last decade. And, after coming within 2 wins of the 2021 World Series, Boston collapsed to a last-place finish last year as the foundation of the team was torn to shreds by injuries. In July of last year, they went 8-19. They put 12 players on the DL. I'm sorry, the IL. I mean, what the fuck? In my opinion, Cora didn't help himself at times last year with his hyper-aggressive strategies and frantic bully management. As a leader, Cora's top shelf liquor. As a strategist, he's got a lot of Joe Madden in him, which we all know it wears thin on a base eventually. The book is still out on GM Shane Bloom, who botched the Bogarts negotiation from day one. And his trades, they haven't yielded much fruit to this point. The farm is coming along slowly with Tristan Cass and Marcelo Meyer waiting in the wings. I don't think Alex is completely safe, but I think he does have some vulnerability. I got him at 22%. For those of you that are keeping score at home, that's Alex Cora of the Boston Red Sox for Mikey Ford and Debbie Robinson Stevenson. All right, moving on. We are 9 picks in. Almost a third in. This will be a third in right here. I got to pick up the pace, maybe. All right. We got Ray Bostaff, last year's winner. And he's coming out of Akron, Ohio. Last year he won it. He got we got him a Guardians plaque, I believe, for his man cave. And it's another Ohio guy. We got Ray Bostaff and Dan Mormon out of Greenville, Ohio. And I know Mormon really wants me to pick David Bell for him. He can't stand that guy. He's waiting for him to be fired. Let me see if I can find you David Bell. Alright, here we go. Oh, brutal call. Brutal draw right there. So, Ray Bostaff, Dan Mormon, you have Dusty Baker, the defending world champion manager. That's tough. Just days after Houston won the World Series, team owner Jim Crane, he ostensibly fired GM Jim Click. Crane, before diving into the free agent market, was relying on input from, guys like Jeff Bagwell and Reggie Jackson more than he was on his former GM and his analytical leanings there. He also didn't appear to be in any hurry to fill that vacant post for a while. Finally, he gave the gig to Dana Brown from the Braves organization. And Crane was so turned off by Glick, he even fired some of his top lieutenants. And I believe that all this is to the benefit of Dusty Baker, who had a frosty relationship with Glick. And Glick rarely solicited Dusty's opinion on personnel matters. And, look, becoming the new GM of the world champion Astros, that's a pretty phenomenal gig right there. You can just put that Tesla in auto drive and return it back to the garage with no scratches, and you're good. Surely the new GM, he ain't coming into the world championship organization and firing that beloved manager there. Not in 2023. I put Dusty at about 3% vulnerable. All right, so that's another tough pick. Dusty Baker's off the board. I go back into the hat, pull out 2 more names. Man, can you hear that dude playing? I mean, that's just ridiculous. I see a guy playing a guitar like that. Like, listen to that. That's ridiculous. I see a guy playing the guitar like this, and yeah, I'm just glad I played the flute. You feel me? All right, let's go. 2 names out of the hat. First name, Steve Meisenwitz, Phillies fan out of Baltimore, Maryland. And his partner is Dean Hobson out of Marion, North Carolina. All right, 2 really good hombres right there. Let's see if I can't pick you out a winner here. All right. And you 2 have A.J. Hinch. That's not a bad pick, actually. I think Hinch has a little bit of vulnerability to him there. They got a new GM there, Scott Harris. He represents this paradigm shift in the way the Tigers do business, the way their overall baseball philosophy. Third-year manager A.J. Hinch may be slightly vulnerable because of it. Anytime a new GM rides into town, it's only logical to believe that they're going to want to build the team in their own image. And Harris, he trained at the feet of Theo Epstein, Farhan Zaidi, and he already chopped the head of, longtime scouting department Scott Peels. He poached Rays top scout Rob Metzler away from Tampa. And his first goal in Motown has been to expand the analytics department. So in that regard, I think that works in AJ's favor. He had a great working relationship with Astros GM Jeff Luhnow, which is in line with the new Scott Harris direction for this Tigers team. But still, if Detroit and their former high draft picks fail to show improvement, I can see a situation where Scott Harris makes his move. AJ is a really good manager, but I'm going to say he does have a leash this year. I had put AJ Hinch at 33% vulnerable. So far, AJ Hinch has probably been the most vulnerable manager. And he's a working man. Look, here's the thing, and this is the rule that I live by. I don't always listen to Rush, but when I do, so do the fucking neighbors, you feel me? I mean, listen to this right here. Yeah, you're about to get fired, dude, because this is a manager's death pool. No regard for the working man, right? We're all, working men, working ladies. You know how it is. All right. Here we go. Frankie Eyes, the winner of the 2023 Throwback Draft. His name is here. Of course it is. He's a loyal follower. He even bought some of that hand cleaner off of me. That's my dude right there. And he will be with Danny Barrera out of Denver, Colorado. So let's see here. Let's see what I can pick up for you guys here. Oh, wow. That's funny. I don't know how Danny's going to feel about this. Danny Barrera, Frankie Eyes. You have Bud Black from the Colorado Rockies. So, Danny, you got your own manager, much like Chanel McCaskill in the very beginning. And, Bud Black, he's been the team skipper since 2017. The last 4 seasons have resulted in under 500 finishes. And surely the Monfort family, who has shown a recent willingness to spend on contracts, will not tolerate a 5th straight season under 500, I gotta think. The ownership, in spite of loosening up the purse strings, they missed out on a golden opportunity to lift that veil off the stagnant franchise by bringing in an outside, fresh perspective to run those day-to-day operations. Instead, they hired from within. Longtime front office lieutenant Bill Schmidt, who served under Jeff Bridich, who made really no difference in the fortunes of the franchise. And Black, he looks to finally solve the hardest baseball riddle in modern-day baseball. how does starting pitchers survive the Coors Field effect? And looking at that Rockies rotation, I don't see Bud Black solving that riddle this year. I'm going to go out on a limb here in the face of Monfort conservatism. And I see Black, I think he's a little vulnerable. He may not survive the season. He might get it. Well, he may. He may survive the season and get the axe in the offseason, but I think he's vulnerable. I'm going to put Bud Black at 25% vulnerable. That's not a terrible draw unless you're a Rockies fan like Danny Barrera. All right. Moving along. 2 more names out the hat. All right. All right, this is Jeremy Jeffries out of Columbus, Ohio, by way of Green River, Wyoming. A very solid listener right there. I'd like to pull him out a winner. You're going to be with Abel Rosario, my international sports correspondent. It's been on the last couple of weeks talking WBC baseball with me. Let's see if I can't get you guys a winner. And it looks like they're drawing, the papers are getting smaller and smaller. All right. Ooh, that's a brutal pick right there. Okay. Abel Rosario, Jeremy Jeffries. You have Kevin Cash, manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. And then probably, in my opinion, probably the safest of all the AL East managers. He and GM Eric Neander, they've earned trust with one another. They've gone to war with one another. They're totally buying into this Rays way and leaving their own fingerprints on the Tampa template. And when the Rays are healthy, they are crushing the opponents with their sum is greater than the total of creative parts there. The two very rarely lose trades. And they are top-flight security of the world, Craig, when it comes to development and evaluation. Which, let's face it, you're going to need that in the face of stingy ownership and constant stadium drama. So I would be completely shocked if Cash got fired. I got him at 4% vulnerable. Moving on. Next 2 names out of the hat. There's 3. Let me put one of those back. Throw that back in there. All right, here we go. All right, I got my boy Sean Smith. He's working in the U.S. House of Representatives. He's going to be the fucking president one day. One day, the president in the Oval Office is going to be listening to Backwards K-Pod. I promise you, this kid is going to be a president in the future. So I got Sean Smith from the U.S. House of Reps, and I got Stephen Mark Saunders out of Fairmouth, Massachusetts. All right, let's go ahead and get in this hat here. It looks like I'm running out of manager names. I hope I did the math right here. All right. Stephen Mark Saunders. Soon-to-be President Smith. Let me reach in here and grab you a name. Okay, let's open this one. Oh, all right. It's not horrible. You got Skip Shoemaker out from the Miami Marlins after, 7 seasons. Mattingly's out. Former Padres bench coach Skip Shoemaker is in. It kind of makes sense for the new direction of the club to be modeled after Shoemaker. The former Cub has a card. He's experienced in small ball success, being part of an organization who puts the emphasis on internal development. And as a player, he was versatile, hard-nosed, max effort type. As the manager of the Fish, he's going to have to win with a lineup, with limited power but a ton of speed. I think Shoemaker will get every chance to sink or swim here. I think he's very secure in his job this year. GM Kim Young, on the other hand, I'm not so sure about her fate. Her reign atop has not yielded any on-field success, and it's fair to ask, what's the future path of the Marlins here? I put Shoemaker at 13% vulnerable. Not exactly a high chance, but look, you never know with the Marlins, right? So that's Stephen Mark Saunders, Sean Smith, the future president of the United States. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I wish I could have gave you a better option there, buddy. All right, moving on. Reaching into the hat. I got Matt L. Asbury out of Kennersville, North Carolina. That's my boy right there. Solid listeners, man. I love all you guys, man. All you guys, man. You're just the fucking best. I'm glad I can do stuff like this for you. Matt Asbury, you're going to be in tandem with Corey Smith out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's my boy Corey. Another, just, you know, all the love, man. You guys just fucking kill it for me all the time, bro. All right, you guys are gonna, let me see here. I'll pull you now the name. Oh, I actually like this name for you guys. Corey Smith, Matt Asbury. You have Phil Nevin, manager of the Los Angeles Angels. And Joe Madden, after his firing last year, he released the Book of Joe, Trying Not to Suck at Baseball and Life. And in this book, he complained of how the Halos front office had become totally overcome by advanced metrics and how the suits were actually calling the dugout to interject their strategy advice during games. And that's going to be Phil Nevin's challenge right there. He's armed with a 1-year contract, staffed with new faces. I consider Nevin vulnerable. Will he be able to turn the Angels around? And is he willing to play ball with the constant interference from the front office? See, the Nevins are a baseball family. They're old school through and through. With Ohtani, Trout, a healthy Rendon, ready to start this season. The Angels, you know, they're going to be under pressure to finally get to some postseason pay dirt here. The one thing about the Angels that I do like, the rotation looks improved when they snagged southpaw Tyler Anderson from the Dodgers. And they have high hopes for an emerging Pablo Sandoval and Jose Suarez, who he was damn near untouchable in the second half last year. They also have Reed Detmer and his high ceiling. He proved his medal by pitching a no-hitter last May as a rookie. The Angels, they have a chance to dramatically improve this year, but the Halos have made Nevin appear a little bit weaker here, and just kind of like this stopgap kind of guy till something better comes along. Only time is going to tell, but I do have Nevin at 42% vulnerable. Okay, he's probably the most vulnerable one so far. Pulling out 2 more names. All right. The 2023 LTBPN Manager's Death Pool, sponsored by Labaro's Crabfish Hand Cleaner. All right. The next one. 2 more solid listeners right here. I got John Foxy out of Houston, Texas. I got, let me see here, what is this? I got Greg Stewart out of Piscataway, New Jersey. And let's see if I can pick them out a winner. Let's see, what is this right here? Unfortunately, I didn't do you no justice, boys. Sorry about that. You got Scott Service, Seattle Mariners. I don't like that pick. I'm sorry. Team chairman John Stanton, he's placed his trust in GM Jerry Dipoto and manager Scott Service, and it's paid off in spades. That wasn't always the case with Dipoto. It's easy to forget that the M's fans, they used to get frustrated by all of Dipoto's, moves and personnel, but the base has been reinvigorated by back-to-back 90-win seasons, with an eye towards the 2023 season. Dipoto and Service were teammates in Colorado together. They worked together in the front office with the Angels before joining forces in Seattle. And I believe the Mariners will again post about 90 wins or so. And, they're going to be hunting for the wild card spot, maybe even division title. Maybe it's their year. And barring a complete breakdown of performance and trust between Service and Dipoto, Service has nothing to worry about. That's a tough draw, my friends. I have Severino at about 6% vulnerable there. So not a great pick. Sorry about that, boys. All right, 2 more names out of the box here in the 2023 Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network Manager's Death Pool. All right, there's a name.
What have I become?
Man, these things are getting hard to open up. All right. Okay, I got T. Strickland out of Waterford, Michigan. And your partner is Jared Kopp out of Bristow, Virginia. 2 solid dudes right there. Unfortunately, I didn't cut you guys any breaks here. I am pulling Bob Melvin for the San Diego Padres. And look, expectations are abound at San Diego, right? You got the addition of another bomb-ass bat and Xander Bogaerts. The rebuild is over. The Friars are stacked with the most talent in franchise history. Both GM A.J. Preller is an aggressive mover and shaker who is quick to make a bold trade to bolster his squad. And, not all of his moves have been successful, as the Padres have given up a ton of quality prospects over the years. But their success is also a nod to impressive drafting and player development. And San Diego was kind of late to the analytics party, but they're catching up quickly. And manager Bob Melvin, he's highly respected. Especially, going back to his, challenging but successful tenure in Oakland. His leadership qualities have never been questioned. They shined through last year in the first season at San Diego. And barring a disastrous collapse in 2023, I got to think Melvin is relatively safe. I'm going to put him at about 9% vulnerable of being fired. Entering back into the draft, pulling out 2 more names out of that name hat. I got Ben Muth out of Topeka, Kansas. I got Joseph Christopher Johnson out of Chicago, Illinois. Again, two fine individuals. Crazy baseball passion. Ben's a crazy Royals fan. JC's a Cubs fan. He's already crazy. Cubs fans are crazy. All right, let me see if I can pull you guys out a winner here. All right, let's see what we got here. You know what? This isn't a bad pick. J.C. Johnson, Chicago, Illinois. Ben Muth, Topeka, Kansas. I pulled Rocco Baldelli. And I hate to say it because I'm a Baldelli fan, but I think Rocco has some vulnerability at the final year of his contract here. He really hasn't had a problem evolving with the game, but in many ways, he has a lot of old school risk-adverse tactics to his game. I call him Amino. That's the analytically metric in names only manager. He rarely puts runners in motion or gives up on an out to move a runner. And I got Bill James on the line right now, and he's screaming at Rocco, take a chance, brother. The team is fiscally conservative, as they've been in the bottom half of MLB payrolls for the last decade. And I recommend a balls to the wall approach this year from Baldelli. Leave it all on the field. His job may very well depend on Byron Buxton finally taking all his talent and bringing it all together. And finally, the Twins leader, being that Twins leader that they've always envisioned him to be. Buxton, he's like bad sex for me. It starts out so promising, and then I get so fucking bored, and I just fake it. Baldelli better vie for a playoff spot, or, Rocco's done in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I'm going to put Rocco at 36% vulnerable. So, I don't think that's a bad pick. J.C. Johnson, Ben Muth, not bad. Going back into the hat. All right. So, our two names. The first name is Michael Dietz out of Peoria, Illinois. The second name is my man Brian Bellzino out of Dewey, Arizona. And their manager is Mark Kotsay. I don't think he's that vulnerable, honestly. Yeah, the nucleus of that homegrown talent, young players acquired from trades, it's not going to be a competitive core until about 2025 at the earliest, I'm thinking. And by that time, the A's could be, joining the the Raiders and the Warriors in an exodus from the Bay Area playing in Las Vegas. GM David Frost has, for the most part, been involved with the payroll and team acquisitions for the past 2 decades. So he goes into the season fully aware of the challenging limitations the organization's going to face. New manager Mark Kotsay played for the A's. He goes into the gig knowing full well his team is not expected to compete. He also knows that, with no perennial all-stars on the roster, he really has no trade chips, to make his situation better. The team is also hamstrung by poor drafts in 2017, 18, 19. And because of these shortcomings, the A's need to be constantly developing at this point. And that's going to be a tough ask for the most experienced skipper, let alone, a rookie here trying to take over. Everyone knows that the current score going in, he probably won't get fired, but it may wear him down at some point, and maybe he quits. But I highly doubt a pro like Kotsay has ever quit in the face of a challenge, so I don't see him as very vulnerable. I got him at 10%. So that's kind of a tough draw. All right, let's reach back in here. The names are drifting off, baby. We're getting through it. All right. Interesting. The first name is Scott Yoakum out of Franklintown, Tennessee. I think it's Franklinton, actually. The second name is James Goggin. He's standing on a corner out in Winslow, Arizona. And their manager is Matt Quattraro of the Kansas City Royals. I don't know that I consider him all that vulnerable. Let's see. I mean, at some point, all these high draft picks, they need to turn out for the Royals, right? Especially on the pitching side. Brady Singer proved he has a good slider, the ability to have better command. Daniel Lynch, who I've been high on in his minor league tenure, he needs to realize all that promise he has. He needs to exhibit more faith in his slider, work with Singer to make it more effective. Brad Keller hasn't regressed. He's regressed since 2020. And maybe Jordan Lyles can have the same workhorse/mentor effect on the young Royals pitchers the way he did in Baltimore last season. The Royals seem distracted by new stadium talk as John Sherman brought the team for $1 billion and has thus far failed to open his payroll for any talent whatsoever. Quattraro, that's such a weird name to fucking say. Quattraro was Kevin Cash's bench coach in Tampa. And he also has experience in pitching development for the Rays and the Guardians. So that gives me pause. Those are two good organizations there that really know how to develop pitchers. And it's going to be a process in Kansas City. It's almost like starting over, although I don't believe it is a full reboot like Detroit. At least the Royals have a budding superstar, Bobby Witt Jr., on their roster. Quattraro is safe, but if for any reason that Sherman is focus more on securing a new crib. And it'd be better if he would, concentrate more on what he's got going on in the field. I'll put Quattraro at 3% vulnerable. Let's make it 8.7. The Royals are gonna, they're gonna struggle this year. All right. So Goggins, my man, that's your guy, Matt Quattraro. All right, getting down to the nitty gritty. First new name, Matt Gibson out of Baltimore. Orioles fan. I know he was loving that Orioles win today. And we got my boy Johnny Haynes out in Cincinnati, Ohio. So, Johnny Haynes, Matt Gibson. I got a beautiful audience. Oh, that's kind of a tough pick. Torey Lovullo for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And when I look at the Diamondbacks, first of all, GM Mike Hazen is entering his 6th season as the top dog decision maker. Several of his personal moves have not turned out well, but he has been able to make up for it with, outstanding draft picks and astute low-budget flyer additions. The front office is analytically inclined, albeit on a tight budget. One of Hazen's first moves was, in fact, hiring Torey Lovullo as his manager, and Lovullo rewarded Hazen and the franchise with early success, but Lovullo has evolved into this player development guy and a teacher for the last few seasons. He has been criticized as a tactician, but his players consistently play hard for him, which works in tandem with the plethora of young talent working their way to the show. And I expect Arizona to be very competitive in 2023, and if that doesn't happen, Lovullo may pay the price. I'm going to put Torey here at 13% vulnerable. Okay. Moving on. 2023 LTBN Manager's Death Poll. The first name I pull is my girl Niecy DeShield out in Baltimore, Maryland, baby. Alright. I really want to pick her a winner, too. She's been in that Facebook room since the beginning. Loyal. The second pick is Brian McKenzie out of Ontario, Canada. Another fine dude. So we got Niecy DeShields, we got Brian McKenzie, and their manager is gonna be... God, I pulled these way too tight. Oh, brutal. I'm sorry. I gave you Brian Snitker from the Braves. And really, it seems so long ago when the Braves fans were questioning the ability of the new skipper, but two of his strengths, stability and calm, have become part of the organization's DNA, and it bleeds into the product that he puts out on the field every night. It certainly helps that the Braves line up at bullpen or idiot-proof, but Snit sticks to the basics and believes in his boys. He understands the value of his set roles. He never outthinks himself. He never tries to be overtly smarter than anyone else in his decision-making. He's very methodical in his ways, and the clubhouse has totally bought into what he's selling. Snitker will almost assuredly not be fired. I got him at 3% vulnerable. Okay. Moving on. Two more names from the hat. It doesn't look like many managers are left, so we're getting down there. I got Adam Helbel out of Baltimore, Maryland. I got Mark Zolgai out of the UK, United Kingdom, all the way across the pond. The dude follows me. How about that? So we've had an Australian. Well, Mark, he's from the Czech Republic, so he's Czech. And Mark Zolgai, Adam Hebel out of Baltimore. Not a very good pick. Gabe Kapler from the San Francisco Giants. The Giants, what can you say? Farhan Zaidi, he was named president of baseball operations in 2018. He's widely considered one of the brightest analytical minds in the game. His impact on the franchise in 4 years has been clear as the Giants use analytics in every conceivable way. While there hasn't been much evidence of a rehabilitated farm system yet, which I'm, waiting on, that may change after the season with some solid ball-playing prospects on the cusp of making a difference on the big club. Zaidi and manager Gabe Kapler, they have a tremendous relationship that goes back to when they both worked together in the Dodgers organization. His outside-the-box style, it has the blessing of the front office, and he's been met with open arms pretty much throughout the Bay Area. The team's analytic and coaching applications, they've been clear difference makers in the past 2 years. San Francisco still lacks the power of their rivals in San Diego and LA, but it has at least closed the knowledge and the coaching disparity. And Kapler and Zaidi, they have a great relationship. It's built on trust and respect. And quite honestly, I don't feel like Kapler is vulnerable at all. I'm going to put him at about 13%. So Adam Hebel, Mark Zolgai, you got Gabe Kapler. I'm sorry, not a good pick. I should have done better. I failed you guys. I'm awful. Terrible. All right, 2 more names out of the hat. I got Junior B. Anderson out of New Orleans, Louisiana, down there in the Big Easy. And Mark Steinman out of Selden, New York. So, 2 fine dudes right here. Mark Steinman, Junior B. Anderson. Oh my God, this is a tremendous pick for you guys right here. You guys have won the David Bell sweepstakes. And I consider David Bell, I mean, he's gotta be vulnerable, right? I mean, the Reds have shown incredible patience with manager David Bell, and his leash is getting shorter and shorter after every loss. His head-scratching tactics have left the majority of fans unimpressed and salty, to say the least. He is, without question, the most hated current manager by his own fan base. The Reds have yet to exceed expectations on his 5-year watch, and for me, he is the most vulnerable manager in the field to be fired first. It's really just a matter of time. And this is a fantastic draw. I put David Bell at 66% vulnerable to get fired. So Junior B, Mark Steinman, you got David Bell. To me, the clear favorite here. Two more names out the hat.
I'll say it clear. I'll state my case.
I got Ralph Portuando out of Seaside, California. And I got Mikey Franks, my boy out of Altoona, Pennsylvania. And let's see if I can't pull my boy a good one here. Yeah, it's a pretty good one should be left, right? This is a pretty good one. Mikey Franks, Ralph Portuando out of Seaside, California. You guys have drawn Nationals manager Dave Martinez. And I kind of like this pick. I think it's a pretty good draw there. This is more than likely the last year for Dave Martinez to be in charge of the Nationals, as you know, he will likely be ousted by new ownership. And that may not be by no fault of his own, but aside from the madcap 2019 season that saw his frantic postseason march in the postseason, he has shown very little sense to suggest that he is a long-term building block for the new era Nats. GM Mike Rizzo, he's almost certainly gone after the season. His tenure in the district has seen success, but his stubbornness and trading Bryce Harper when it was clear he was leaving D.C. and his inability to build a farm system is the very reason that the Nats are in the fucking situation they're currently in. I consider Martinez one of the front runners to fall on their sword during the 2023 season, and I got him at 40%. So not a bad pick at all, like right there, in my opinion, for Mikey Franks and Ralph Portuando. All right, moving on. 2 more names come out the hat. I got Ozzie Cruz, my boy out of Puerto Rico. And who else is going to be running with him? Kurt Paul Otterbrock out of Champaign, Illinois. All right. I only see like 5 more managers, so we're really, really close. Okay. Kurt Otterbrock, Ozzie Cruz. Your manager is Brandon Hyde. And Hyde, he finally has a competitive lineup, right? He's got starting pitchers who can actually accumulate outs. He finally has a team with the tools to work with on the major league level. And following the promotion of Adley Rockstar, the team found its competitive edge. Adley's impact on the staff is unquantifiable without witnessing it firsthand. The rotation's going to need to go deeper this year, more often, which isn't beyond the pale after Kyle Bradish and Dean Kramer got their first whole season of experience in 2022. The bullpen, it was elite last year, even after trading closer Jorge Lopez to the Twins. Felix the Mountain Batista, he's got all the tools to be elite. Cionel Perez and Dylan Tate were great bridges to the mountain. And look, when we're talking about the Orioles, they have the number 1 farm team in baseball with guys like Grayson Rodriguez, Cody Mayer, Connor Norby, Colton Cowser, Heston Kierstad, Drew Rom, Joey Ortiz, Taryn Bobra, Jordan Westberg, and the number 1 prospect in all of baseball, Gunnar Henderson. They're all waiting in the wings. Some of them are even up in the big club now, like Gunnar, pushing that big league roster to be better. The chances for Hyde to be fired are slim. I got it around 12%, and that is only if there is a complete collapse throughout the organization. All right, moving on. 2 more hats. 2 more names out the hat. All right, getting down to the nitty-gritty. Where are we going from here? 2023. LTBPN. Death Pool. Manager's Death Pool. Sponsored by Laparose Hand Cleaner. I got my baby, Dougie Jorbo out of Oella, Maryland. That's my home slice. We knew each other since, we was in diapers and shit, looking at each other all funny. All right, let me see what else I got here. Scotty DeBean, the Godfather. He's coming out of Sarasota, New York. All right. Your manager is David Ross for the Chicago Cubs. That's not too bad, I don't think. I mean, the GM, Jed Hoyer, he sat at the feet of Theo Epstein as his right-hand man before Theo's departure in 2020. And as Hoyer learned his lessons, he watched Epstein lead the Cubs to their first world title in 108 years. The past generation of success was spurred on by great drafting, player development, astute trades, and to Hoyer's credit, he has taken that same path since he took over and started calling the shots. He still, they're still like, this middle of the pack payroll, still kind of in a rebuild, and, back-to-back seasons under 500. It's not played well with some of the fans, given their large market status and strong team revenues. Couple that with the fact that the Cubs are no longer the sabermetrics gold standard for analytics that they were under the manager David Ross and his staff of coaches, most of whom are returning, will be under pressure to show improvement this year. And I do think Ross is a little vulnerable. I'm going to put him at around 20% to get the axe. All right. Doug Jarbo, David Ross. Doug Jarbo. Scott Devine, you have David Ross from the Cubs. All right, looks like we're getting down to 3 more managers, so let's get it. I got Omar Gabi out of Chicago, Illinois. His partner's going to be James Santoro out of Queens, New York. And their manager is going to be... That's a tough one. Your manager is going to be Rob Thompson, manager of the National League champion Phillies. And... Rod Thompson, he's widely credited for turning around that 2022 season after the midseason firing of Joe Girardi. In many ways, he is the mirror image of rival Braves manager Brian Snitker to me. Thompson is a baseball lifer, quiet, assuming. He prizes consistency and routine. He does his best to keep it simple, stupid. His loyalty and ability to not rock the boat, it's won him favor in the clubhouse, and in my opinion, he's like the perfect yogi fit for that perpetual pressure cooker that is Philly sports. He is backed by aggressive GM Dave Dombrowski, who is never shy in going for immediate dividends. The Dombrowski way has never been about sustainable contention or a deep farm system for that matter. It's always been about paying the price to win, no matter how high that price tag is going to be. And, it's a high wire act for sure, but you can't knock what Dombrowski has constructed in just his 3 years of work in the city of brotherly love. I think, barring an ugly fall from grace, Thompson is safe. I got him at 11% vulnerable. Omar Gabi, James Santoro. You got Rob Thompson. All right, the next to the last pick. The 2 names will be... my boy Dan Andrew out of Pawleys Island, South Carolina. And his partner will be my boy Travis Hall in Amherst, Wisconsin. All right, let's see who you got. I know I haven't said Buck Showalter yet. I don't know who the other one is missing. Oh, it's Derek Shelton. So one of you has a really good chance of winning and one of you doesn't. Dan Andrew, Travis Hall, your manager is Derek Shelton of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I think that's a great draw for you. Pirates GM Ben Cherington, he insists that his vision remains intact despite mediocre results. And the tightly fisted and frugal owner, Bob Nutting, it has to be frustrating to such a credible baseball man like Cherington. And luckily for the Berg, Cherington made his bones in scouting and player development as he has built himself a formidable pipeline for a future of Buccos, especially on the bump, where Roansy Contreras and Mitch Keller, they got high ceilings and the skill set to be, a dominant 1-2 punch in the Pirates' future. With the emergence of shortstop O'Neal Cruz and the veteran signings of Andrew McCutchen and Rich Hill, Cherington at least has a plan. And Pirates fan, you can take solace in that. The only thing I'm not convinced manager Derek Shelton is part of that plan. And the bottom line of baseball, wins, losses, Major League Baseball, Shelton's teams, they produced horrible results in 3 seasons at the helm. And sometimes he seems to lose focus. He's been criticized for his lack of attention to detail. It is time for the Pirates to move on if they plan to take this youth movement to the next level. I have Shelton among the favorites in the field to get the axe. But the question remains, are wins and losses the bottom line for nutting? Or is it about saving money and stuffing your coffers? If it's about wins or losses, which it better be for the sake of McCutchen, then Shelton, he got to go. He should go. He should be on the shortest leash that there is in the majors. If the Buccos start slow, Shelton got to go. I put Shelton at 60% vulnerable. So, I believe the only manager left would be Buck Showalter. I believe. I don't know who the last 2 names are, though, so let's go through and get these names. That last manager should be Buck Showalter. Let me make it sure and take a look at it. Yes, it's Buck Showalter. He's the last manager standing. And Derek Moeller out of Springfield, Virginia. And Brian Davis out of Louisville, Kentucky. You guys got Showalter. It's not a great pick. He's in his 2nd season in the Queens. He still has shelf life in that clubhouse. That has brought him. They bought into him 100% there. He had very little trouble adjusting from classic old school ways to the modern ways driven by analytics. And tactically, Buck has never been on the cutting edge of strategy, but he has historically depended on having a strong pitching staff that works deep into games. Thankfully, that 2023 Mets staff should afford him that possibility, which should allow Buck to excel at, player relations and avoiding that New York City drama. Again, it's still the 2nd season. His act hasn't worn thin yet, and he has the deep pockets of owner Steve Cohen to always level the playing field with cash. So, Buck, he's safe. I got him at about 8% vulnerable there. And there you have it, folks. Got it done in only, under 2 hours. Unbelievable. It is the 2023 Manager's Death Pool, sponsored by Laparo's Hand Cleaner and Crab Cleaner. And good luck to all of you. Baseball is back. The snake, he's back in the saddle. I'm back from my little time. And you can find me on YouTube at the Backwards K-Pod channel. My Twitter handle is at back_K_podcast. My personal handle is at JRobbie and the number 1. And of course, you can always find me chilling with the Facebook Seamheads at the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network group page. And with the Manager's Death Pool in the books, I now turn my attention to Tuesday's biopic on the great Tris Speaker. Don't forget, I'll also be interviewing former Orioles southpaw killer Benny Ayala. That's going to drop on April 6th. So, never a dull moment during the off-season here. Or, during the off-season or the season here at the LTBPN. But look, those are 2 different stories for 2 totally different pods. And that's going down starting next week here at Backwards K-Pod, where we collect ball players and their stories. Parents, if you see your kid sitting on the couch looking bored AF, by all means, take him or her outside and play a game of catch. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless and win the day. And like my boy Shea Hillenbrand told me in our one-on-one interview, you go to hell, Andy Pettit. See you next week, Seamheads. Peace.